one thing about football. I remember one of my coaches once said, "Guti, the difference between talented footballers and professional footballers is that the one can take instructions. If you can put the ball in his ear mid-game, ushisa too much. First touch, never makes a mistake. Pass, never makes a mistake. Marinda bagutagala late.
Great run. He pulls it back. Rasmus Højlund. Thunderous. It's an absolute net buster.
And we're still in the Nedbank Cup, the Cup of Dreams, our final game. That is Mamelodi Sundowns, our Fanaba style, who will be hosting Mpheni, home defenders.
Mpheni.
What do you think?
You know, we always do this with teams that are playing in the CAF Champions League. We've never struggled to pronounce the name of a team that's playing local. We always struggle with our young boys. How do you know what I mean? Not Mpheni home defenders. So we'll just call them the home defenders.
All right, the home defenders.
Yeah, no, the home defenders, can they defend their home? Well, they can't because they're playing away.
What a task, though, facing Mamelodi Sundowns.
Bafethu, I don't know what balele kanjani for the past few days. Knowing very well Guti it's going to be like this.
But we look at Sundowns' last game. The Sundowns' last home, not home,
Last
PSL
game. in
league
the-
game.
Yeah.
They were away to Tex Galaxy. They lost against Tex Galaxy.
Guys,
Isn't that motivation with the Sundowns is actually beatable?
you can't say it's motivation.
Yeah.
It's collecting a home defender is not the same level of football.
Remember how
Nah,
we always said these so-called
Okay.
small clubs, that's how they make the names. If home defenders goes on to beat Mamelodi Sundowns, we will never forget the names.
No.
You know how Tex Galaxy became Tex Galaxy? By beating Chiefs in the same
but
cup
they-
in the final.
But everyone beats Chiefs. When
you
was the last time a team didn't beat Chiefs?
Still in Porsche flag,
But that's recent. eh?
Let's focus on this
I'm
game.
sure if we check,
Let's
my
focus
guess
on
is
this
also
game.
beat Chiefs. Eh?
More.
Okay, let's move
Let's
on.
focus on this game.
Yeah, but the reality is that home defenders, they managed to get a 3-1 win over Hungry Lion. Ngapha Isibanye yashawa 5-2. It's by Sundown. So it's not the end of the road. Football is football, baba. Meludlale, unless if you're a team that wears white and gold from somewhere. But meludlale, you know what I mean? You have to play your football. You have to show up on the day. Regardless of the opponent, you still have to play your football, the way you know how, the way you always play it. So home defenders must just forget who the opponent is. They must just go to enjoy the game. You know what I mean? They mustn't think about, hey, we could play against Bafana players or play against the biggest club in the country. When we play against CAF Champions League wins, you know what I mean? Just focus on the game itself. Go play your football and be done with it. I think when it comes to the 3 matches we've discussed, this is the most
Unbalanced.
uneven one, yeah.
The Sundowns, they had a hiccup against Tex Galaxy during the week. Unexpected. Did you expect that loss? I mean, they just thrashed Pirates by 4-1, then go over to lose against Tex Galaxy.
One thing I know about uDiski, especially when it comes to having watched it for so long, those losses always come after a big win. Like those losses always come against a big opponent and a big win, because even the players, be Sundowns, needed a wake-up call to say, hey, Baba, you're not above losing. You understand? Because after they beat Pirates, most people behave like it was the end of the season. That's I know we're done for the year. And that needed to wake the players up to remind them, guys, it's not over. Sapusha. You understand? And I think that's the message that the coach must have had after the full 90 minutes. Because for a lot of times, I mean, clubs like Sundowns, they believe that goals are going to come on their own. If you look at the Ribeiro you saw against Sundowns, against the Pirates, and the one you saw in the middle of the week, it's not the same Ribeiro.
Same Ribeiro.
Is it the same Ribeiro?
Same Ribeiro.
Same cut,
same everything. Just Tex Galaxy had a better plan.
Yes.
If you check Ribeiro, if you go back to the game against the Pirates, Ribeiro's second goal, where he took the ball from his own half, ran with it, and went over to square goal. He tried that a couple of times against Tex Galaxy, but they were better prepared. Because they marked him. Sundowns, not because Sundowns played badly. Sundowns played well. They played the same style they played against Pirates. Just that on the day.
But the two things that ETS Galaxy did right. Number one, they took advantage of Sundowns' narrow play, and they were taking from wide areas, and they were switching the ball. That's tough. Number two, what they also did well was they were pressing.
Correct. It was a
Mpheni
while.
Mati-
It's been a while since I've seen a team press like this with Sundowns. And you know what I liked? I mean, I remember watching the early second half. I saw them pressing. I'm like, will they be consistent? Will they keep this for the whole 19 minutes? And they did exactly that. They kept that press for the whole 90 minutes.
Is that plan sustainable if Sundowns wants to score a goal? Because don't forget, they were
Sundowns didn't want to score a goal.
No, they were pressing, but you know what I love most about it? We spoke about it in the first clip, where I said to you that when you look at the Sundowns versus Pirates was not building into the box. They were not able to make it into the box, building the way they're supposed to. Mm-hmm. The same thing was happening with the Sundowns, and the reason why is because of those midfield players. The same thing I was telling you about ball watching in the midfield that Pirates was doing against Chiefs and doing it again against Sundowns. You didn't see that from TS Galaxy. The moment Umumkwena was on the ball, the moment Alenda was on the ball, whoever was in the midfield was on the ball, they were pressing. And the thing is, what amazes me most about strategy, say TS Galaxy, they set flat, they had the midfielders in the second row, and what they did was they kept zonal marking, but as soon as the player got on the ball, they press it. When he makes the pass, they go back into the shape, which means also positional discipline was there. So a lot of things that they did correct, but the question is, do you think home defenders going to do the same thing for 90 minutes?
Maybe they should do that. I mean, if it works
for 90 minutes.
If it worked for
for 90 minutes.
If it worked for TS Galaxy, why not now? Just say yourself, because you got 90 minutes. We're going all out for this 90 minutes.
I think one of the main strategies in football, especially defensively, that I love the most, if you stand 10 meters outside of your own box, right, and you congest the midfield, and then what you do is you make sure that anything that happens in front of your midfield, like you set up your defense like an arrow, whatever happens here in the middle of the pyramid, you make sure that you press those players. So you can give them the space to receive the pass, but as soon as he receives the pass, you're on him. What that does is it forces players to second guess their passes. It forces players to play the safe pass, which means
happening against Sundowns doing that.
Exactly, because Mukwena was playing from left to right. He wasn't playing his penetrative passes anymore. Because every time he looks up, the ball comes from Alende, someone's on Alende, someone's on him, he's playing the safe pass. So that worked for them 100%. But guys, they play against home defenders. No offense to home defenders, but I don't think they're going to come into that game with the same approach, with the same intensity. And I don't even think that they'll be playing with the same mindset as your TS Galaxy was in the game they were playing against the Sundowns.
But this is where you need to make your name.
100%. This is where you need to make your name. But you know what? In South African football, we have to be honest. We don't have the kind of footballing culture that promotes players from the second division, that promotes teams from the second division. The fact that we had a debacle after COVID of teams selling our status, teams buying statuses, it kind of shows you that we don't treat our football as institutionally as the rest of the world treats its football. Maybe, let me say, the European clubs treat their football, because if you look at how a team like Royal AM ended up in the situation that they are in, is the effect of having to have bought the status, the club's owners' drama, the club's drama ends up now affecting the league. Now we have a team that hasn't played matches in like almost a month or so. So if we had that culture of saying those who are pushing, those who are hungry, those who are getting promoted, those who are performing in these kind of trophies are going to go up and play in the PSL, then our football culture would change. But the reality is that without that football culture that our home defenders can look at and say, in the next 5 years, our plan is to be in the PSL. And games like this is to see how far we are from that mark. Tomorrow we could be sitting here and home defenders could have been sold. Status Hambil, Kamal Chenchil. You know what I mean? Those things happen all the time in South African football. I think that's also one of the things that's making these football clubs. Back in the day, football clubs were a passion project and so on. Somebody loves football too much, has the money, starts a club, goopy. Nowadays, we miss our clubs from old. You understand? So home defenders, I think, going into this match, I'm not going to say that they must go in with the aims of beating Sundowns. Because right now, even if Sundowns plays their second team,
does Sundowns even have?
You see what I'm saying?
Does Sundowns even have a second team? But look, speaking of Sundowns having a second team, when we spoke about Pirates alone, we speaking about rotation, about Abom Fukeng, overplaying and whatnot. You come to Sundowns, why is that we never complain with Allende is being overused? Why is that we never complain with Ribeiro is being overused? What's the difference between those players and the players from Sundowns? What are they doing differently?
Sundowns is very solid. Mm-hmm. And this was one of the things. I remember one time we had an argument way before we even started this channel, where we were speaking about Bafana Bafana, and I said to you, the problem with Bafana Bafana is the chopping and changing of players. because systems don't build like that. You understand? You can't build a system with different parts. You have to have a core that you can keep, that will run your team. So at this moment, Sundowns has a spine. They have the goalkeeper, they have the defensive pairing, they have the midfield pairing, they have the striking partnership. You understand? Anything around that can change. But the moment you take out that core, it's a different team. We were talking about the other day, Liverpool losing to Plymouth. Or, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. But if you look at that team, the core was gone. The goalkeeper wasn't there, the two centre-backs weren't there, the main midfielders weren't there. So core is a team. With Sundowns, the spine is strong. And if you look at how they've been rotating, they don't rotate his spine completely. Mokoena can be missing, but Allende will be there. You understand? So it's a matter of chopping and changing strategically, not just saying, skip a Wonkama player, Sfagama, like new players, let's make it work. It's not going to work. Players need time to gel. Players need time to become friends. Even when you play football, you wanna pass the player you like. Even Muntas one night, no about Cup, yeah. We've seen that many times in football. Even more than Lekas. You want to uvulil nang uvulil. Instead of keep pass umfake, uzoyenza fumjiko yale. And that's a symptom of players not having chemistry. There's training for that. But chemistry boils down to friendships amongst players. You look at how these players were around their captain, Uzwali. You understand? You must look at those kind of relationships. Forwards must be friends, midfielders must be friends, so that way we can talk, we can play, there's open communication. If as Zwali, we can't work together.
Nah.
So if you are saying to me that you're going to take a whole bunch of kids and put them in there, you must put them in at least 2 or 3 of them, so that there's a relationship, you understand? And also that you can have Ipalase Koyako, you know your core is okay, your 2 centre-backs are fine, because that's where the instructions are going to come from. You've never seen it. I've never seen in football where they play senior fullbacks and junior centre backs. If you're loving the video, don't forget to hit the like button, leave us a comment below, and share by clicking on the share button.
And if you're not part of the Betfred family, simply open an account with us and get up to 500 free spins and up to 5,000 Rand first deposit match.
Let's get back to the video.
And speaking of that, you mentioned something interesting earlier on. I've never seen Sundowns without Allende and Mokoena. If one is not there,
if one is missing, the other one's there.
So the spine is still solid.
Spine, because you know why? Kona umuntu has a spine, in fact. Not in terms of it. You know, one thing about football. I remember one of my coaches once said, "Guti, the difference between talented footballers and professional footballers is that the one can take instructions. Kona one take us if you can put the ball in his ear, mid game, which is too much. First touch, never makes a mistake. Pass, never makes a mistake. Marinda bagutagala late." So players like Allende, players like Mokoena, their currency is that. The ability to take instructions from the coach, deliver those instructions, but not only that, command their space. You understand? Those players understand. If I've seen Mokoena break the lines many times. Mokoena has the ability to take the ball from a deep-lying midfield position, beat the second line, go into the advanced midfield position, put Allende into play. That can only happen with a team of players who understand each other. Because once Mokoena starts making his run, if you don't know what he's going to do, because you don't know what he's doing. But if you know what he's doing, uzomyenzela space and that's where the trust comes from. That's why if you looked at for a very long time, every time Umkwena ran into the middle, Allende will run wide, and then you see Zwale coming inside. So what was that? It means they understand the movement means this, that movement means that. So that's how the chemistry starts to build. When you add a new player to that mix, even if you've trained with him the whole week, it doesn't take a week for you to learn habits. Bazothi buys a little movement. And then, I'm a Lipola where he's standing.
And Sundowns does that successfully. If you look at the introduction of these new players, Bakale of course,
yeah,
fitted in well. Moved on to Batubanu Suarez. Suarez is now fitted in that culture. You have Jason Adams also being put in that mixture. So what they're doing, they're putting one player at a time. Then they get used. So they'll be allowed to put 5 of the senior players and allow these so-called new guys to fit in because they wouldn't have been introduced properly at the right time.
Can I tell you something about the football brain? That's so funny. If you go check those players' appearances now, I bet you all of them have more than 10 appearances. But in your mind, they stay new. Because every time Mopegi Sundowns, you don't see them playing all the time. But if you go check, how many appearances would Reyners have at this point?
Reyners is playing almost every game, man.
Is that more than 20? But he just arrived at the start of the season. So the thing is about football, the scary part about it is that there's players that in football, because you don't see them too regularly, you think that I still new. This player has over 20 appearances for his Sundowns. It's just that they're not week after week after week after week. Which means in training, how many days of training do they have with these players? How much time does the coaching staff have time to gel in the system, gel in the habits? Because football is a game of habits.
We come back to the Nedbank Cup, the cup we're speaking about. Last time Sundowns took it was in 2022.
Yeah.
Pirates went over to take it 2023, 2024. Do you think Sundowns really wanted it? Are they hungry for this trophy? Or focus is on Champions League?
I think for Sundowns, the conversation will always remain the same because I don't think this has been a priority for them for one reason, the CAF Champions League. And if we're being honest, that's the level at which they've been seeing themselves for a very long time. If you speak to Sundowns fans, they'll tell you about El Ahly, they'll tell you about TV Mazembe, they'll tell you about Wydad Casablanca, they'll tell you about teams outside of the country because that's where they've been playing their football. Because up till now, the priority was to go play in the FIFA Club World Cup and qualify. Now they've qualified. Now the priority is to go and impress at the FIFA Club World Cup. So that's why I think also a big contingent of these players has not left the club yet. Because their goal is to go play the Club World Cup. And then if they're going to move on, they'll move on. But the reality is that Sundowns at this moment in time, their priorities are different. When it comes to domestic football, it feels like EPSL is just part of the deal. Like they have to by win. Which also is a prerequisite for them to play the CAF Champions League. So if you look at their targets are always based around playing in the CAF Champions League. Because even when they got knocked out of the MTN 8, Buffett, we'll be crying.
We're not crying.
I was not crying.
Not when you guys speak about the Sundowns must at least get domestic trophies, another trophy besides the league. What do you guys mean by that?
I think that's from a selfish standpoint, because what more can they win? Because right now, honestly speaking, what more could they win? What more could they win? Were they not in the final against Magesi? In the curling? Or am I getting it wrong?
No, they were in the final. They lost against Makesi beat them.
Yes.
That was the curling. That's the final.
Yes, they were in the final of the curling. But at the end of the day, what are the fans still saying? Yo, must win the CAF. Yes, the objectives are different. I mean, the coach lost. Okay, he did get fired. He did lose his job. He did get sacked. But even when he got sacked, it was because they possibly could not qualify for the next round of the CAF Champions League. And this new coach came in and his mandate was qualify for the next round. Which means that the objective of winning these trophies is a by the way. It's not like the conversation we were having previously in the previous video about Kaizer Chiefs having to win this trophy because it's the only available trophy. There's this thing that happens every season in the English Premier League. As soon as you get to December, every journalist starts speaking about the quadruple. Carabao Cup, FA Cup, Premier League and Champions League. Right? And the reality is that at that point in December or January, you're still in all 4 trophies because the FA Cup just started for you. The Carabao Cup is now sitting in the quarterfinals. The Premier League is still in match day 20-something. And then the Champions League is still in group stages. So you possibly are still in all of these trophies. But the reality is that the best coaches, the best footballing brains understand that by reaching for all of these things, you're adding games to your schedule. Number 2, you're adding fatigue to your players. Because now if a player, let's say a player like Mokoena, they had Mokoena injured for a very long time. If now they go another 16 games without Mokoena, especially this part of the season, because they risked him in the Nedbank Cup. You understand? And then subsequently they lose the CAF Champions League because Mokoena bagangeko. Was it a good sacrifice to play him, lose him in the Nedbank Cup when you need him for the CAF Champions League? Doesn't make sense. So at this moment in time, we're looking at, that's what I'm saying, the level of where Sundowns is football-wise. It's at a level of business. It's almost as you speaking here. Let me put it like this. No offense, but it's almost speaking about a restaurant that has one location versus a McDonald's chain. The chain has different priorities. They don't even operate the same way. They have a bunch of business people who are buying and selling property. You have a bunch of people that are cooking the food. So you care about how the food tastes. You're doing quality checks. They're just like, as long as the food is going out, we are buying new locations. That's the business now. So the business for Mamelodi Sundowns has evolved. It's no longer about what they're doing within the borders. In fact, their owner technically is the chairman of the continental competition. So is he worried about what's happening domestically? I don't think so. I think his concern is on the continent, guys. Don't make me look bad. I can't be the chairman of this thing and then you guys are losing in Africa. You have to win it. Because then everyone's going to start saying, why is the guy from South Africa sitting there if he can't even win the trophy?
How many more seasons do you give Sundowns to win the Champions League?
I think Sundowns at this moment in time, it's not even how many more seasons. It's about the culture that Sundowns wants to live up to. And I love the fact that if you look at Sundowns now as a global entity, Sundowns is a big name globally when it comes to footballing people. Because right now, the FIFA Club World Cup was announced in terms of group stages. It's announced Sikona. The trophy came to Africa.
For the first time.
It landed at Sundowns. So already they see themselves as a big club. It's a big club, Chief.
Correct. No,
you have to give them that. Yeah, you have to give them that. And not even historically plus currently. So you have to ask the question: how does Real Madrid stay Real Madrid? You understand? How does Real Madrid stay Real Madrid? Real Madrid's objective is always win the league and win the Champions League. Copa del Rey, once in a while they'll win it. But if you look at Spanish football, Athletic Bilbao, Sevilla, Valencia, Villarreal, long ago, those were the teams that were going for a Copa del Rey alongside Atletico Madrid. You understand? You have to focus on these two things. Those are the two things that you are known for. Right now, Madrid has over 35 plus La Ligas. Do you think they're tired of winning it? No, they're not. It's still a priority for them. But if you look at the amount of cup trophies they have, it's not as many. It's not 30 something.
How fitting to have Sundowns going to a Club World Cup and you put them alongside teams like Real Madrid.
Because the reality is that's how they see themselves. I mean, for home defenders, can we argue this is the biggest club they face so far?
It is the biggest. I mean, it doesn't get bigger than this.
And what is the biggest club that Sundowns has faced? Because if I'm not mistaken, the last Champions League they won, that was in which year?
2016.
2016. Who won the Champions League in 2015?
Al-Hal, wasn't it?
No, not the CAF. We're talking UEFA. Who won the Champions League?
Oh, Champions League.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Chelsea won it 2012. Or 2013. It was Chelsea, Bayern.
Probably Real Madrid then.
Roma 2015.
Because
yeah, Madrid won it 15, 16, 17. Madrid won it 16, 17, 18. Liverpool won it 19. So who won it before Real Madrid? Juventus wasn't that final. Okay, we'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is that you're talking about that same conversation. I think it was 2016 was Real Madrid. So imagine now you playing in the same competition as Real Madrid. You're playing in the same competition as Fluminense. You understand? Atletico Mineiro. So think about it, Chief. For home defenders, it's like, yo, Sundowns. What about Sundowns having to go to the Club World Cup? Did you see their group? Did you see who's in their group?
Yeah, I see, but more a lot to say about Sundowns.
No, all I'm saying is, that's what I'm saying.
Sundowns, I give them flowers.
Even if
They're doing everything.
Even if they get knocked out of this trophy, their goal and objectives are not about this trophy.
Let Pirates defend it for the third time in a row. They don't care. We're going to the Club World Cup.
Club World Cup, CAF Champions League.
Guys,
Premier
you're hearing more.
Premier Soccer
You're hearing more in the problem. So there's no need for me to ask you for a prediction.
My prediction is straightforward. Sundowns has to go through. The same thing I said about the Chiefs. You can't get knocked out by this team. You can't. You know what it is?
Mm-hmm.
There's a saying in okay, I can't say that saying, but you know when a guy's in fetu, if bangakushaya ngempama, let's say out there wena kushaya ngempama esipaza sakubona, like everyone sees ukuthi bamlayitile lo mjita. Tomorrow nentona encane ngakutshela wena ngazongitshela kuzobiza uTheko.
What's a good result for home defenders?
I think home defenders for them, if they can keep it to a decent 2-0, 1-0, 3-2, 2-1, I think for them is a decent game. If they get a goal in this game, definitely, bro, it's also a plus. Because soccer is soccer, Chief. It's a game at the end of the day. Anyone can win it. But just that Sundowns is coming, first of all, Imagine
in that lineup. Guys, you hearing more. I won't even ask if you agree or disagree because I know you agree.
And also,
I know you agree with Mo. You're saying Sundowns.
The last thing also, don't forget resources are not the same.
Mm-hmm.
So for home defenders, our finger pass prendiwe everywhere.
I remember when Baroka came in a truck there, when they were sitting in the back of a truck when they were playing Kaizer Chiefs and then over to beat Kaizer Chiefs.
Yeah. But also, what I was about to say is that we also love to ignore the fact that for some of these players, it's not a full-time job. So, trainer is not good to trainer every day. Sometimes, but you're spending overtime and figure them. So, at work, they don't want to give you off, go to your Sundowns. Spana, I need to phone Spana.
Yeah, man.
But I'm not saying that home defenders is a semi-pro team. I'm just saying those are some of the factors we're living with.
They're a pro team. Hopefully, they do well and they qualify for NFD. At least, you must see them playing in the NFD soon.
Yeah.
All right, Masibal, a shy prediction recap. when we started the show,
We'll talk about
we
the big
talked
three.
about the big three.
Who are those big
And
three?
you doubted those big three.
Nah, don't die. I still
In our
doubt.
first game, we had Orlando Pirates, who will be hosting Ichipa United. You said who's going to win there?
Isn't Chipper Chiefs?
No, sorry. Pirates is playing Baroka.
Yeah, but I'll rock.
Donkey. Pirates is playing Baroka. You said who's going to win there?
Pirates.
You said Pirates going to win. In our second game, we had Chiefs, who was playing Ichipa United. And you said who's winning?
Chiefs.
You said Chiefs is winning. And in this game,
Sundowns.
everyone says Sundowns is going to win.
Everybody said it together. Sundowns.
So Mo is saying our victory is going through to the next round. And remember, next round, that's your quarterfinals, last 8.
Yeah, last
So we're
eight.
expecting big.
But also you have to
games
be
in your last
scared.
eight.
You have to be scared for Kaizer Chiefs because you know they're allergic to 8. You know, top 8, last 8. I was on now.
Mo, Khalil. Mina ngiyayivala manje. Angifuni kusasa nithi ngithe. Ngiyayivala. Guys, thanks for watching. If you haven't liked the video, if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and click the like button. But most importantly, if you haven't yet subscribed, subscribe.
Subscription.
Subscription. If you haven't subscribed, please click on the subscription
Button.
I'll try the camera.
If you haven't subscribed, make sure to click on the button below.
Yeah, subscribe.
And leave us a comment, a like, some money, nyana.
I see very more.
So pay attention.